Good morning, class. I'm here with my next class on software engineering subject with new topic, which is prototyping model. As I discussed, different type of many different type of software engineering, software development models. In that, I'm including also one model, prototyping model. Here is a figure which show how to the prototype model work. This model requires that before carrying out the development of actual software, a working prototype of a system should be built. The working prototype is developed as per current available requirements, but has limited functional capabilities, low reliability, and untested performance. When the prototype is created, it is revised by customer, which gives feedback to remove uncertainties in requirements of software. Software after the finalizing or finalization of SRS document, the prototype is described and iterative system help to develop actual system. The development of prototype involves cost, but overall cost is lowered that of an equivalent system developed using iterative waterfall model. Before going to discuss prototype, I want to, before going to discuss advantage of prototype model, I'm, I'm adding some points from my views, and I will describe this prototype model. The software prototyping is the activity of creating prototypes of software application. Incomplete versions of the software program being developed. It is an activity that can occur in software development and is comparable to prototyping as known from the other, such as mechanical engineering or manufacturing. A prototype typically simulates only a few aspects of and may be completely different from the final product. Prototyping has some benefits The software designer and implementer can get valuable feedback from the users early in the project. The client and the contractor can compare if the software made match the software specification according to which the software program is built. It also allows the software engineer some insight into the accuracy of initial project estimates and whether the deadlines and milestone proposed can be successfully met. The degree of completeness and the techniques used in prototyping have been in development. The purpose of a prototype is to allow users of the software to evaluate developers' proposals for the design of product by actually trying them out rather than having to interpret and evaluate the design based on descriptions. Software prototyping provides an understanding of the software's functions and potential threats or issues. Prototyping can also be used by end users to describe and prove requirements that have not been considered, and that can be a key factor in the commercial relationship between developers and their clients. In particular, use of prototyping with the goal. This process is in contrast with 1960 and 1970 development cycle of building the entire program first and then working out any inconsistency between design and implementation, which led to higher software cost and poor estimates of time and cost. The monolithic approach has been dubbed the slaying the software technique, since it assumes that the software designer and developer is a single hero who has to entire software alone. Prototyping can also avoid the great expense and difficulty of having to change a finished software product. The practice of prototyping is one of the points. An early example of large scale software prototyping was the implementation of translator for the programming language. It has implemented in with the intent of producing an executable semantic model for the language. The process of prototyping involves the following steps: identifying basic requirements, determine basic requirements including the input and output information, desired details such as security can typically be ignored, develop initial prototype. The initial prototype is developed that includes only user interface. Next, review the customers including end users, examine the prototype and provide feedback on potential addition or charges. Next, process of prototyping: revise and enhance the prototype using the feedback, both the specifications and the property, and the prototype can be improved negotiation about what is within the scope of the contract or contract. Product may be necessary if chains are introduced, then a repeat of review and revise and enhance the prototype may be needed. The advantage of prototype model is uses or users are actively in error can be detected much earlier. Small a working model is provided, a later understanding of the system is developed. Disadvantage of prototyping model. Here, two disadvantage of prototype model I mentioned. This methodology increases the complexity of the system. Developing a working prototype involve extra cost. Now moving to the next model, which is spiral model. The spiral model is a six or a risk driven software development process model based on the unique risk patterns of a given project. The spiral model guides a team to adopt elements of one or more process models, such as incremental, waterfall, and evolutionary prototyping. This model was first delivered by Barry Beham in is 1986, a spiral model of software development and enhancement to a wide audience. The term process model to refer to the spiral model as well as to incremental waterfall prototyping and other approaches. However, the spiral models characteristic risk driven. The diagrammatic representation of this model appears like a spiral with many loops. The exact number of loops of the spiral is not fixed. It is incremental model and can vary from project to project. Each loop of the spiral is called a phase of the software process. This model is more flexible than other since the exact number of phases through, through which the product is developed is not fixed. Each phase in this model is divided into four states or four sectors. First quadrant, some features of the product are based on reversibility, surety of the risk, implementation of the identified features from the objective of the phase. Objective are investigated and analyzed. Attractive solutions are proposed. Second quadrant. Second quadrant solutions are evaluated by developing a prototype. Risks are identified and resolved. Third quadrant, at the end of this stage, the identified features have been implemented and next version of product is available. Fourth quadrant, it involves renewing the result of or reviewing the result of the stage. So far with the customer and planning the next iteration. Around the spiral. An advantage of a spiral model, the spiral model is suitable for development of technically challenging software products that are are proved to several kind of risk. Disadvantage of a spiral model, as here mentioned, two disadvantage of spiral models. A spiral model is a complex model as compared to other models. Second disadvantage, it requires a knowledgeable staff. Thank you, students. Now, and the next topic will be RAD model. This topic will be explained in the next lecture. Thank you.